28 months down, yeah, the industry's been bruised, but we're not here to fold, we're here to refuse. While others pause, we built the plays, now we're leading the charge in a brand new phase. You feel that tension, that's the pressure to grow. Hiring's messy, turnovers high and budgets low, but we don't panic, we adapt. We sharpen the edge and reload the map. This is the staffing playbook, strategy on tap. Steven brings the grit, G-Money brings the slap. Forget the fluff, forget the spin. We give you plays that actually win. From the break room floor to the boardroom seat, we've walked the walk, now we bring the heat. CDLs, forklifts, line leads, and execs. We place the best and fix the wrecks. Insight, hustle, leadership bold. No safe takes, just the truth told cold. Wanna scale your team, wanna close that gap. We got the data, the story, and the roadmap. So turn it up, lock it in. This is more than a podcast, it's a win. This is the staffing playbook. Let's get to work, it starts right now.
Welcome back to the Staffing Playbook. This is the podcast where we cut through the noise and get real about what drives growth in staffing and beyond. I'm Steve Farrell, your host, and I'm joined by no other, my co-host.
G-Money, Lady G, but
G-Money's
also
in the
known
house.
as Genevieve Bourgeois.
Yeah,
How
for
are
those
you?
that can pronounce Genevieve Bourgeois. Took me like a year to pronounce her name.
It was like Geneva Borgoyes. How are you doing?
That's right. All right, so really excited about today's topic. Today we are diving into something that every business thinks they have, but very few actually execute it well. I'm talking about a clear, effective marketing plan and not a 50-page binder that collects dust. I'm talking about a single-page, laser-focused, actionable plan that gets everyone on the same page and moves the needle. To help us unpack this, we've got someone who knows the art and science of marketing inside and out, Matt Frisbie. Welcome to the podcast for your second appearance. How are you doing, Matt?
Great, man. It's grateful to be here. I just love that intro. I feel like it needs like a slow clap. Like,
Here, wait, we got you.
who's the artist? I need to meet this guy. The staffing playbook. Like
His name is Chad, also known as AI.
Just has a real sultry voice, very thug. I like it.
Thank you. We also have another special guest, someone that's been on the program a handful of times, the director of marketing at Your Employment Solutions, Marc Webb. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. And just to let you know that I do walk around the office singing, it's more than a podcast, it's a win. Like, that is very catchy. So
I was going to go, "Bow, bow, bow, bow." We got Marc Webb.
I'm happy to be back.
Mark, funny tangent here. My wife, I'm always like, hey, did you ever watch my podcast or this last episode? She's like, no, I hear you once enough throughout the day, right? And then one morning about a month ago, I hear her singing the theme song.
She likes me, guys. She really likes me.
Victory.
I bet her favorite part is G-Money comes in with the slaps.
Probably. I wouldn't doubt it. All right. So I want to do just a short introduction for Matt here, for those that don't know Matt Frisbie. And if you don't, I'm sorry, you're missing out. You probably should get to know Matt. Matt's a seasoned marketing leader who served as a chief marketing officer for brands like Holiday Oil, Little Giant Ladder Systems, Blend Tech, yes, the Will It Blend campaign. I want to talk to you about that. Another episode, and Aximo. From building campaigns that connect with frontline workers to driving go-to-market strategies for global brands, Matt's track record speaks for itself. Recently, about a year ago, he led our team through a one-page marketing plan workshop. Got the book here for those that are watching on video, where he broke down complex marketing strategies into something clear, practical, and immediately actionable. So today, we are bringing the one-page marketing plan to you, our audience. We're going to talk about the why and the how behind this framework, what we learned as a company and what we continue to learn, and then how you can apply the same principles to simplify your marketing strategy and sharpen your execution. So Matt, welcome to the Staffing Playbook. You ready to get into it?
Let's go, baby.
Woo! Okay,
Love that answer.
I was sharing on our last episode, or not on our last episode, I was a guest on another podcast about the one-page marketing plan. And I had mentioned that I've probably read more marketing books than any other genre. And I was always lost. Like, I had more questions than answers every book I read. And then when you brought this to our organization, this has literally been the last marketing book I have read. So it's been a year since I picked up a marketing book because this was so impactful. So I want to know, Matt, what first drew you to the one-page marketing plan? Why did it resonate so well? Why does it resonate so well with business leaders? And why did it get me to stop reading any other marketing book for a year now?
Yeah. Candidly, it came from having a 48-page marketing plan, and it was beautiful. Mark actually saw, we worked together at that organization, but it was great, but it was a siloed effort. Marketing is so complex, changes so often, the language is so foreign, and the deeper you get into it, it gets worse. The acronyms, the vernacular, it's ridiculous. And it changes all the time. Generative engine optimization right now is making it even worse. So it will always be the case. And to win a customer through these channels, through these motions, it's complex. And so often when marketing is communicating, cross-functionally, it gets lost. And both parties get really frustrated really quickly. And so what really happens is there's a communication gap. There's a misunderstanding. And when people misunderstand each other, the confusion leads to frustration and worse. And so oddly, we were succeeding quite well at marketing in the time, but constantly having friction with sales, which happens in my experience in most organizations.
Yeah.
Shared resources for both groups, shared goals, and different perspectives, different approaches. Well, I think, but I think this, trying to accomplish the same goal. And so because that frustration exists, the complexity makes it harder. And I had a great leader at the time. He's still a great leader, but we sold that company. And so at the time, our CEO had gone to Mexico on his annual Mexico trip. And he came back and he always reads a book, So when he came back, I was like, here we go. We're going to read another book. And he's like, Matt, have you heard this book called The One-Page Marketing Plan? And by the title, I was a little bit confused as like, what are you reading about marketing? And it sounds like maybe you're disappointed in marketing. And he's like, no, And so he hands me the book. And as I opened the book up, just scanning it, it felt like marketing 101. And then I became concerned, like, am I failing at my job? And he's like, what? No. He's like, just read it, So I went in with that concern, definitely. And as I got through the first 3 chapters, I went from concerned to angry. A couple more chapters, I went from angry to really upset. And then I finished the book and like the light bulb happened. I'm like, he wants us to be aligned. He wants unity. I can do that. And so I met with him and I told him how I felt. And he was like, why'd you get so upset? I'm like, just roll with me, dog. Please just roll with me. And I confirmed to him, I said, we need more unity and more alignment between sales and marketing. He's like, bingo. He said, will you teach our team? So combined, it was almost 50 people between marketing and sales of this organization. And so I then took the book and turned it into curriculum and made 10 separate modules so that we could read the book on our own separately and then come back to it with actions. And so as I looked at how do I do that, I didn't use ChatGPT. I just went through each chapter and started writing down questions that an answer would move the needle. So we started doing that. And at first, it's going to surprise you, there was a lot of resistance. Imagine like almost 50 people in a meeting together in a conference room trying to answer questions. Not everybody learns in a conference room. Not everybody gets value out of contributing. But through the sections, through each of those modules, there was a moment that and everybody became one. And you could feel the goosebumps in the room, and almost as we unpacked the messaging component of one-page marketing plan, there was complete unity. We even had pretty serious, I'll call them debates for safety, really heated debates prior to that moment. And when that moment happened, there was such a unifying feeling and energy that it changed our organization. And we were already growing, but this was definitely a delta following this that was unforgettable. And the fact that we shared a vision and we were so excited was great. So that's kind of how it got assigned, and I hope that answers your question.
It does. That's the second time I've heard the story about your CEO recommends this book, like he always does after going on vacation, and the fact that you're getting mad, frustrated, angry.
Yeah.
Are you telling me I'm not doing a good job? You're teaching me marketing, like, and then out of that, you had this aha moment of, oh wow, we need to be aligned when it comes to our marketing strategy, not just everyone be aligned with marketing. No, marketing being aligned with the entire organization, and the organization aligned with marketing as one. And that's hard to do. To get 50 people in a room to talk about marketing. Are you insane, Matt?
Yeah, it was challenging, huh, Mark?
Oh yes.
But the opening of the book, I think, caught everybody's attention, and Allan Dib does a great job of hooking your attention. The one-page marketing plan's thesis is that marketing is the fastest path to cash. And prior to that paradigm, I taught Peter Drucker's principle that marketing and product are the only two growth mechanisms of a business. Everything else is a cost. And that's true, right? Marketing and product are what drive new innovation, new profits. And many organizations don't see it that way. And everybody's welcome to their opinion, but the volume of case studies where organizations see that as the growth mechanism do quite well. So I love Allan Dib's thesis that marketing is the fastest path to cash. It's not the only path to cash, but it is the fastest.
Yeah, fastest path to cash. And you quizzed us in our workshop. You're like, what is marketing? And we're all throwing out all these ideas, like, it's your lead gen, it's your reputation, and you're like, no.
Right.
Fastest
path to cash.
I think both Mark and I can go and confirm and agree with that.
Fastest path? Good.
Yep.
So why one page? It's called the one-page marketing plan, written by Allan Dib. Why one page? What's the risk of overcomplicating marketing plans? How does condensing it down to just one page make it more effective?
That it happens. There are so many marketing plans that get 8% completed because they're complicated. And the moment something is complicated, the risk of it being left behind, forgotten, changed is extremely high. And there's so much history of that being the case. I look at our own marketing calendar at Axomo, and we're like 45% accurate because the shiny thing of the day becomes the emotional thing of the day, becomes the fire of the day, and we do it. And that happens in 100% of organizations. Things just come up. The simpler it is, the simpler it's understood, the higher likelihood that it will be executed. And especially when you can repeat that simple vision, it happens. So if that one page happens, it's a huge success. And when you can start and finish something, it's a huge success. And the fact that marketing can codify it down to something so simple, that's actually more genius than a bigger, broader thing. I mean, Abraham Lincoln apologizes for the length of his speeches. I wish I could make this shorter. The reason he wishes he could condense them is so that you understand it and do something. And that's why one page is so powerful, is that it happens. And organizations that do that, it happens and they grow. And when everybody can agree, I know how to do that, it happens. And complexity will naturally evolve, but complexity doesn't always mean good. It doesn't even mean smart, right? Just because you have more information doesn't mean you have more knowledge. Just because you have more knowledge doesn't mean you have more wisdom. So I love that it's simple, and I love that it happens.
Yeah. I tried to, too bad Abraham Lincoln didn't have ChatGPT. I've used ChatGPT to condense his talks, and
I've had to go and tell Steve multiple times, proofread your ChatGPT. But I love the fact, and one of the big takeaways for me is I'd like to go and think about the acronym of KISS. Okay. Keep it simple, stupid. All right.
Doesn't mean that you're stupid. She thinks your idea
just
is.
Me.
Oh, no. Oh, no. He just needs to proofread. But the idea behind this is keeping it into something that is taking a lot of complex information from multiple parties, right? having to go and take 50 plus people. And I know that we recently did a workshop in person, not quite as big as 50 people, but the thing is, you simplify and you walk out with an actionable plan on how to move forward. So, KISS.
Yep, exactly.
Clarity before speed.
Mm-hmm. That way you can go and execute it consistently.
Now, I really want to get into the workshop that you conducted with us. We recently, a year later after the first workshop, Marc Webb here took us through the workshop again because it's, we identified our ICP, we had our one-page marketing plan mapped out, we executed on it, and we didn't just set it and forget it. We were constantly challenging, is this our ICP? Is this plan working? And then we came together as an organization. Marc led this and helped us redefine our one-page marketing plan. And so if you could, Matt, just for our audience, just a couple minutes, what is the framework of this one-page marketing plan when it comes to getting it on one page, that customer journey? What does that look like?
Yeah, I love that you're redoing it also. That is the point. You should constantly be refreshing it. You should be constantly reviewing it annually. And the fact that you've improved your ICP, that's magic. If you believe in the framework, then anything can go through it and improve your situation. You should be learning every year. You should be improving. So the structure with one-page marketing plan is before, during, and after. Before is the thinking, the strategizing, the messaging. The during is creating leads, capturing them, bringing them into a system. Then the after was actually the biggest paradigm shift for me. Most marketers see branding as what happens before. It's the messaging, the website, all the things. But branding is what happens post-purchase. And I love that. That's the kind of the sweet magic of the end of the book, is that the best brands have excellent customer experiences. Not excellent lead experiences or excellent prospecting experience, excellent customer experience. I've already handed you money, and now you're blowing my mind with our relationship. And my favorite thing about marketing is that the best marketing, you feel understood. Feeling understood is the most romantic, sexiest, amazing, interesting feeling that any human can ever feel. When you feel understood, there's a magic that happens within you with friends, romantic relationships, brands, organizations. You're watching a movie and you're like, oh, they get me. And I was on a different podcast and I was talking about Moana is one of my favorite movies, and not for the reason that you think. What I love about Moana is it has a heart about genealogy, and the word genealogy is never used in Moana, but she talks about her ancestors. I listen to that soundtrack more than I'll ever admit, but I feel understood. And so the before is ensuring you understand. The during is demonstrating you understand. And the after is your gesture of, not only do I understand you, I want you a part of us. And so the book does a great job of keeping the before, during, and after crystal clear, and having a couple of actions within that, right? So the framework is meant to be reused. The framework is meant to be simple. So you're like, I believe in the framework. Let's do it again. Because next year when you guys do it again, it's going to get even better. And the year after that, it's going to be even better. And when you're 6 years out, you're like, dang, we're real good at this. But the framework keeps you focused. The framework keeps it simple. And I think that Allan Dib has done a good job of, when I came to Yes or any organization I've worked with, every one of them is like, we are so different. You're not different. You want to help people. You think you're amazing. They want help and they think you're amazing. That happens whether you're selling popcorn, automobile parts, you're an airline company, you're staffing agents. You're all trying to solve a problem. That's what entrepreneurship is. And so if you can let go of this specialness that you think you have, the specialness comes from you delivering that. Not that you're different, but the difference is what you do about it.
I got to tell you, I really struggled with the after part when we went to the workshop the first time.
Yeah.
Because, we're in staffing, and so we're not selling a product, we're not selling a good. You can't get a refund on an associate that didn't work out. We can't get a refund on that. And so, we're selling a service, and I had to really you probably remember this. I was struggling with, what is it that we can do post-purchase that's where the real magic happens with your marketing plan. I'm not talking about, we service our customers after we sign them, we get them the help they need, right?
I'm sure they feel that way.
But marketing, how does marketing apply to the staffing industry with your customers that have signed with you? And that was really difficult. And when you helped us start to figure this out, it was really fun. And it was really cool having Marc on board through this process, because Marc doesn't come from staffing. And so he understands the after a lot better than us people in staffing, which I think gave us the competitive edge to move much quicker as an organization and help us have a banner year last year.
That's awesome.
I agree. Like the after part does get neglected a lot by companies, and I think that I've seen within that book. But marketing to people that are already interested and know about you and everything, I love it. Like they're already converted, and so it's awesome to be able to. That's where the real fun marketing is, with those just appreciation drops and just helping them feel understood. That's where the real trust builds, the referrals come. That is a really great part.
And just to follow up with what Marc just said, it's one of those things, making people feel understood, right? But also marketing it's so much more than just like, hey, here's a social media posting, here's that, here's this, omni-channel, blah, blah, blah. Okay, it is a full 360-degree lens that you have to look through and then specialize in certain areas, because there is the before, there is the during, and there is the after. All right. And how do you go and nurture everything? Because marketing is actually really nurturing clients, candidates. It's nurturing the entire sales movement path, but also the end user experience. And that's where you get repeat customers. That's where you get repeat clients. And that's one of the beautiful things about marketing. So I love the full circle of all of this.
Like a big, warm, fuzzy hug.
Yes, it is. It's a big hug. It's a bear hug.
Yeti.
The best,
or a Yeti hug.
Is where Ritz-Carlton took a huge risk. The general manager of Ritz-Carlton in the 70s took a big swing, and he gave every employee the power to make a $2,500 gift daily. They got $2,500 a day to a day or a month, something like that.
It's actually per guest. I used to work for the Ritz.
Per guest, that's what it was.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
First-hand experience.
Yeah.
And I think most organizations be like, whoa. But when you think of the transactional activity that happens at a Ritz-Carlton, the average stay per night, it isn't a huge risk, because when a problem happens, you end up spending more. But get way ahead of the problem. And he empowered them and trusted them to create incredible experiences. And he found that they weren't actually spending that much, but the trust they felt to deliver a shock and awe. I mean, imagine being somewhere at Ritz-Carlton. You expect to pay for everything, huge tips, huge prices. And, getting that opportunity to give someone the confidence in the employees, the confidence in the organization skyrocketed. And you now know Ritz-Carlton because of that. And because they empowered their people to feel that way, it's just changed them. It's changed the organization. I don't know that I've experienced that. Maybe I did and didn't know it. They've got a great, experience that they've planned. I was able to go to the one near Mavericks. We went surfing out there, but they've also got, a reputation for delivering experiences like that. And so you're willing, and to Genevieve's point, that there's a cyclical nature now, because when you get an experience like that, you talk about it. And so that was the biggest surprise to me. That doesn't mean it's the biggest surprise to other organizations within that framework. But as a marketer, I then went and sat with my CEO, and I was like, hey, thank you. I didn't think I'd walk away with this level of wow. And he's like, well, that wasn't my huge takeaway, but I'm glad you got something out of it. And so we're able to laugh at my emotional discomfort reading it initially. But there's just some real great gems in there that the simplicity of it makes it amazing.
The simplicity of empowering your people to do the right thing, that is how you create fans for life.
Yep. Agree.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Totally agree.
All right. I want to jump into the workshop itself. But before I do that, I've got one more question for you, Matt. because this is the fun part, because I know you've worked with a lot of different companies. You've seen good marketing from bad, and you've experienced terrible marketing. Where do companies go wrong when they're building their marketing plan? Set aside the one-page marketing plan for a minute. Where do most companies go wrong?
That's a great question. I would say that the most common thing is impatience. The most common thing is super fast turn expectation. Most people, out of real genuine desire to know what's going to work, is, well, what's the ROI? And it's less what do I get and more what does it do? And so I think that asking the question of like, well, what's the ROI? What do I get? And I think that the Savannah Bananas are probably best in class in understanding what does it do. And the Savannah Bananas are all about creating fans, like John Genevieve said, right? That go create fans, and you're going to stop asking, what does it do? These people are selling out stadiums at $50 a ticket. I'm talking like front row is 50 and the very last row is 50. They don't care. Analysts are telling them how wrong they are. Investors are telling them how wrong they are. They don't take cash. They just go make fans. And like, I can't wait to go to one, right? As soon as they get close enough to us, we're going. And I'm sure that everybody I know feels the same way. And the $50 tickets aftermarket are selling for like $500 to $800.
I ended up having to buy some tickets aftermarket, and it was, well, I live on the East Coast.
Oh, right.
So it's not that far.
We're not so blessed
yet. But no, I gotta tell you, they put on a great show. They've got incredible marketing, and they have what you're gonna get. You're gonna be surprised. You're gonna enjoy it. You're gonna have entertainment. It's a whole curated experience, and their marketing is brilliant.
Oh, for sure. And here's the funny thing is that the founder says, we don't do any marketing. And I call complete bullcrap, because the reality is the customer experience, that's marketing. The product, that's marketing. And that was the fun definition in the beginning of the book, is what is marketing? It's not advertising. What he meant to say is we don't advertise. And I often find, to your question of mistakes, organizations that don't market, they are so proud to say, we didn't do any marketing. Didn't spend $1 on it. And look at all this money we made. Imagine saying, we didn't do any operations. We didn't spend $1 on operations. Nobody would ever say that, ever. No. And so when I hear people say, we didn't spend $1 on marketing, my question to you is, why did you leave all that money on the table? Why did you not allow your company to grow more? Why did you not receive more profits and growth? Why would you limit yourself from that? So growth is not valuable to you? It doesn't mean that a great offer can't be good. But it to me, it sounds of naivety to make questions like that. And so the biggest mistake organizations make is impatience and misunderstanding. And I would say that you can see that across any discipline within an organization, is I want it right now, and I don't know what I'm asking for. The best marketing organizations know that attention is greater than quality. And if I get attention, I've got customers. Nike does it. Right? Is that they are not the best shoe in the world, but it sure feels like it. Apple doesn't make the best computer in the world, but it sure feels like it.
Thank you for acknowledging.
I'm saying that with all the things.
Right? Excuse me.
Yeah,
we're gonna have a fight. I'm gonna have a different fight. No.
All right, so I want to jump into the workshop itself. So again, a little over a year ago, you came in here to our organization and you took us through the workshop. Marc was brand new to the organization, and he's gone through the workshop with you before and helped apply it real time. Different industry. Yeah. And so as we go through this workshop, go through the framework with you, I also want, Matt, as I ask you certain questions, a lot of these are going to be applicable to turn back to us and say, well, what was your perspective on this? Right. So I think this will be really fun to tell both sides of this experience, this workshop that has changed our organization for the better. And so when you run these workshops, so let's talk about the one you had with us. What was your goal in how teams should leave the room different from when they walked in?
It's tough to say without having experienced it, but my goal was to put on a show. so that you remembered it and so you loved how you felt. If I just gave you content, you wouldn't remember it. But if I put on a show and you felt amazing about it, you could not wait to talk about and think about marketing often. And marketing is a show. I remember watching a making of for Pirates of the Caribbean. I had the opportunity to work on that film, and in the credits, in the making of, Orlando Bloom is doing stunt work, and he pulls the trainer aside and he's like, nobody would fight like this. This is ridiculous. And he said, my boy, this is the movies. It's a show. And Orlando was like, oh, right. Have at thee, and it is ridiculous. Nobody would fight like that, but it's a show. And so the framework is wonderful, but as a facilitator, it is my job to put on a show. And I thought about the show at all times. I'm calling you out. I'm making fun of you. I'm laughing with you. I come dressed up. I have food. And we keep it that way so that you're like, when's he coming back? When are we going to talk about marketing again? And that showmanship is really important when you execute marketing, when you think about marketing, when you follow up. Those things are hugely important. And so I made it a point that you felt what I was talking about. And when I asked hard questions, it was in the same vein of the focus of that day. And to me, I've had such a great response when it is a show. And I've done it a couple times where, I've done this framework, a couple dozen times, but I've done it when people don't want to be entertained and it actually falls flat. I have failed at this, definitely. There's been organizations that aren't interested, aren't willing. And a lot of it comes from an impatience and desire to see a different type of result. And so when the people are not bought in, that's okay, that happens. And you can't force people into it either. Yep. If you don't share a vision and you push forward anyway, it's going to be a real disaster. And so I've had successes with it, and I've had failures with it. And those failures come when people are not on board with it. And when you put on a show, not everybody loves your show. And I think for some of those that failed, there were some personality conflicts, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay that I didn't hit your button, and that's all right.
You pushed my button a few times.
What's up?
You pushed my button a few times.
I did on purpose.
Listen, we're only human and we're not all going to mesh together. But the goal for everyone, especially when you're aligning sales and marketing, is to have that zipper effect.
Totally.
And you've got to have those difficult conversations. But I love the fact that you brought up, you want people to be like, when will Matt be back? This was an excellent show. This is something that I will remember. And it's sticky. It stays with you.
Right.
Yeah, Mark did.
Push your buttons.
Oh, yeah. Okay, you're asking me a question now.
Let's turn this interview around.
Yes, I love it, Matt. Go
uncomfortable, but in a good way, because here I thought I knew it all, and then this guy walks in with all his swag and treats and ball cap on backwards, wearing a jersey, and this is supposed to be like a serious meeting, and like he knows nothing about staffing, right?
True.
So it was actually really good. It was challenging, but Mark, I want to point that question to you as well. Did he put on a show? How did you feel?
Yeah, absolutely. Matt is very great at it, and it's hard to replicate but that's absolutely what it is it gets people excited about marketing, because you never go into an organization outside of, one of the giant organizations like Disney, and people are just excited about marketing, right? Marketing is always seen as just the first thing to cut. They just go in there, they hire one person to do everything. There's no strategy. And so that's what this framework does is put you in an easy strategy that gets people excited about marketing. And another thing that this does well is it breaks down the silos. And so you have everybody there, everybody talking, you get, actual results from everybody speaking the same language. There's a lot of alignment. So yeah, there's so many things that go through it, but yes, the excitement is so key, because if they don't remember and they leave without having it gooey, they're going to forget it. It's going to be a waste of time. But you're right. When everybody, and I'm fortunate enough to be in an organization that has really from the top down pushed this and supported it. There was one person in our meeting that he said, I can't really make it. And the CEO stood up and said, you'll be here at this meeting every week. It's important. Right. And we've seen that effect. So it's just, it's a fantastic framework. And it really can make a change if you give it, if you lean into it like you've done and have you explained. So yeah, I just absolutely agree with that.
And just to go follow up with that, I got to tell you how excited Mark was, because I was not a part of the previous one-page marketing plan sprint with Matt, but I was being onboarded at that time. And so several times a week, I would go and get an email from Mark being like, oh my goodness, look at this. This is what we did. We're identifying X, Y, and Z. Like I wasn't even officially signed, but we were having conversations about this on how to grow the company and what the momentum was going to be moving forward. And that's how excited Mark was. Steve was too. But
I felt understood.
I have written form from Mark. But Steve, I got calls. He's like, you gotta, I wish you were here.
Yeah. True.
So no.
I'm glad to hear that.
Only because I wanted you to pick on her, not me. That's all.
Pick on him all the time, please, and I will help.
He deserves it. He does.
He does. Absolutely.
All right. So Matt, you talked a little bit about the challenges with leadership teams that they don't have their buy-in, or other department heads. And sometimes you can get around it. They get their buy-in, but if they don't want to buy in, then, thanks for the check, moving on. Now I want to dig into how you, and maybe you didn't, but how did you tailor the framework to fit unique industries like staffing versus SaaS companies or retail? Like how did you think you could help a staffing company?
Yeah. Like I said before, there's nothing special about any organization other than the choices they make and how they take care of their customers. And so business is business. And because I've owned an agency and because I've worked in several industries, I have personally strategized with over 100 organizations at a small level, but every one of them thinks they're different. Every one of them thinks they're the best. Every one of them thinks they're world-class. Everybody, they have these false senses of their amazement. And what they are right about is that they care. What they are right about is that they're committed. What they are right about is it's the most important thing in the world to them. And so my confidence was coming in that I know people. And I would say it's a great strength of mine that I understand people. And when I meet any leader, I spend a lot of time trying to get to understand them. One of my favorite card games is poker. And for me, I play the table. I understand the cards, but I play the table. And I'm a decent poker player, but because I understand people, I know when to push, I know when to pull, I also know when to wait. And so if you go into any room, I have tremendous confidence in the framework, but I have tremendous confidence in people. And if they can feel understood, you can walk them through anything. So I spend my first several meetings in the proposal process, understanding their problems, understanding them. And like a good date, marketing is so much like dating. And on a date, you should be listening the whole time. The whole time. It's not about you. And that is the number one marketing principle, is it's not about you. Lots of organizations are like, I'm so amazing. Look at how amazing I am. Will you see all this amazement? You see my beard? I'm so amazing. And I recently was introduced to a book, and the entire first chapter was how amazing this person was. And I chucked it. I was like, guy, I get it. You have money. So the freak what? And I was disinterested immediately. It was really hard to finish the first chapter. But when you can sit and listen, like, what are you thinking about? What are you worrying about? Why? Why'd you wear that shirt? Tell me about those sweet J's you're wearing. You can begin to understand the person. And that's why regardless of the organization, regardless of, the industry or even the segment within the industry, you're trying to solve a problem. I remember our CEO at Little Giant Ladders talking about when they went from being a ladder company that thought about safety to a safety company that thought about ladders. That's a super different position. And I loved all the reasons they made that pivot until I had my own. I was at a trade show, an electrician's trade show with all these amazing ladders. And this husband and wife were arguing with each other. And he was trying to purchase a ladder and she was not having it. And I was trying to like remove myself from this argument. I'm like, I don't want to be involved in that. So, she was very emotional and he was like, he was trying to like, please come see this. And so he walked over to the ladder and she walked away and he's asking me questions. And then she comes back and she's like, you're not buying a ladder, Johnny. He's like, babe, I have to be on a ladder. He's like, tell him, Johnny. Tell him how you didn't come home that night. Tell him how you almost didn't come home at all. And she is like weeping.
Wow.
He just stays there with his wife and we're sitting there in silence. And me, I'm like, oh my gosh, this woman almost lost her favorite person. This woman almost lost like the provider of their family. And she was serious about it. And I said, I thank you for staying here for a minute. Can I show you something? And I talked through our safety mission. I talked through why we exist, that we're a safety company that thinks about ladders. And she's like, okay, go on. And I showed her, I said, because things have happened to people more than just your husband, we've designed this component. And she was like, go on. And, 6 minutes later, she's like, you can have this ladder. And that's it. And so she started calming down and he held her and she's crying. She almost lost her spouse, and when you can get real personal like that, you can really, it doesn't matter what industry it is. People have pain, and I'll share one more story. I'm sure you didn't plan on it going this long.
Please.
I was asked to speak at a conference for Goodwill, a big conference. They have it annually. They're 4,500 locations. They're a global organization. They do a great job. And they asked me to speak on brand guide. And I'm like, I could do that in my sleep. And then I had some humility and I was like, wait a minute, like, what do they mean by that? What challenges have come up that's the topic? So I put in several phone calls and I just sat and listened. And there was one soundbite that stood out to me more than any. And they said, Axomo removes the intimidation of working for a large company. I order for 47 locations. This professional, she's like, order for 47 locations and like 600 employees. I am terrified to place any order that I'm going to get it wrong. They're going to hate it. And it's hectic. And so your solution helped solve that problem. And so that wasn't life or death, but it was stressful for her. And so if you're going into any organization, take the time to professionally date them and listen, see what they care about, and if by the end of that dating, you understand, like, I can help you. But when you tailor the presentation to their need, I knew that Reed was funny. I knew that he had a good crew who could, have a laugh. And so I went for it. And we're a great fit that way. I'm not a great fit for some people. And that's totally okay.
Makes perfect sense.
I love the humility on that. And on top of that, like, marketing is about people. And also you've got to listen. You got to listen to your audience. And especially within staffing, it's your clients and your candidates. So you have that full 360. I'm going back to the whole circle. All right. So you have that whole thing, but also making sure that you're having that emotional connection. You're listening to them. And then you can go and be like, all right, this could be a solution to your problem. This is how we're going to execute it. But you are so right about that, Matt. It comes from listening.
Yeah.
All right. We've got a few more minutes left. Man, we should have made this like a 3-hour podcast like Joe Rogan or something.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
I don't have time for that.
Whatever.
I could do 2 though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, if we have to.
We may bring him back on another round, depending on what our audience thinks. You guys tell us in the comments.
We'll just cut you out, Steve. It'll just be Mark, Matt, and I.
That's fine. All right, Matt. Obviously, there's an impact from this workshop, and a big part of that when it comes to the staffing space, specifically where this is really rare, and that's having sales and marketing aligned. Very rare to find that in our industry. If you listen to any other staffing podcasts that are out there, that is a topic that is talked about all the time. And you helped us get very aligned, like John Viev said, links on a zipper zipped up. So, what impact do you see this workshop having when it comes to aligning sales and marketing teams?
Yeah, I think of any relationship, especially spouses. When spouses are not aligned, the kids feel it. You can feel it in the home when you walk in. There's an energy to any group of people. Fans of a team, you feel that energy because they believe, and when people believe, you can do anything. When you have a good attitude, you can do anything. And getting those two groups on the same page, you become fearless. Nothing can stop you. You're going to find innovation after innovation. But unity is such a misunderstood power. It's such a misunderstood tool for organizations. And so when the growth team is unified, and that's why you see so many like chief revenue officers, because sales and marketing, they have to be one. And when you think about that, when marketing creates the opportunity, sales harvests it. When you're telling the same story, when you're excited about each other, you can feel it. Oftentimes, sales complains about marketing and marketing complains about sales, and you can feel that. It's hard. It's hard to overcome that. But when we're unified, when we share a vision, we're going to start like, I had a customer experience. Let me tell you about it, marketing. Hey, we had a lead experience. Let me tell you about it, sales. And that information sharing, oh my gosh, it's fertile ground for growth. And within one-page marketing plan, they talk about sales is hunting, marketing is farming. When you have a nutrient-rich farm and you bring opportunities, there's just a balance. You're not one without the other. You're definitely a combination. And so I would say that like when you feel a family that's unified, gosh, it's so attractive. When you see a couple that's unified, you're like, how do I have that in my life? You can do anything. Really, it's limitless. And so if you can see that as the goal of any unifying effort, whether it's a workshop or a framework, take it. Be unified.
And so one of my girlfriends, she probably said this back when it comes back to like everyone being unified and having fertile soil. Obviously, I'm a gardener. I also have outdoor plants.
And it's all green. Good for you, girl.
Oh, it's all real too. Ta-da. But she went and she said it best to me a couple of years ago. Farm what you have, hunt what you don't. And when you go and you break it down, we'll have to pull on Jenny. But the thing is, farm what you have, hunt what you don't. And so when you can go and if you want to go and think about this, you've got to be unified as a community, right? Yep. Going back to like hunter and gatherers. Okay.
Yep.
But when you hunt what you don't have, that's more of a sales like silo. But when you farm what you have, that's a marketing silo. But the thing is, you can actually go and merge the two and create a whole different vertical. Once again, going back to that whole zipper effect and really unify the process. I really like the way how you stated that.
Thanks,
Thank you, Matt.
Thanks, Matt. Okay, so we're going to wrap this up, Matt. I know we could have gone into a lot more details here. I do want to make a statement here. I think the team here would agree. Through this workshop, we got very clear on who it is that is our ideal customer, that ICP, ideal customer profile. And it's not, okay, a light industrial customer, no, we had Ron Christensen. He was in his 50s. He likes to listen to hard rock on YouTube and listen to choir music when he's driving, right? He wants to know that his agency cares more about their employees than he cares. And we could go down the list further and further. We had Ron Christensen, a photo of him on the walls of our corporate office. We took Ron Christensen out to lunch and interviewed him. And Marc here, did a big part of setting all this up and asking all the great questions. And then literally our sales and marketing efforts were aligned on who the exact ICP that we're targeting. And then marketing put together this customer journey, this 27 plus touch point journey. And, we broke lots of records last year as an organization, and we continue to do that this year. Thank you. And so just as the team here at Yes, you really made an impact on our organization. And, this leads me to my last question, then we got to go because we're running up on time here. Do you see this framework as something timeless, or do you think it will need to evolve as marketing channels and technology shift?
That's a great question. It's a great framework. In the design field, good design is good design. Good design is timeless. This is a well-designed framework. Is it the final great thought on marketing? No. There are so many great thoughts on marketing. The question becomes, what do you believe? And if you believe in it, you're going to put energy into it and you're going to do something about it. And I think that's true for anything that you believe in. I recently had a spiritual experience with a religion I've been a part of my whole life. And I had a moment that took my belief up several notches. And I was planning on giving it to my kids. We went and did this 2-week pilgrimage. I'm like, all right, guys, you are going to grow from this. At the end, I was like, like, you know, and I was like, what's happening to me? I already know this stuff, you know? And I spent so much time with it that my belief like scaled. And I've been bearing my testimony about it nonstop. Like every time I go to lunch, I'm like, and people are like, okay, bro, okay, you know, but it depends on what you believe. And if you believe it, you will put the transformative energy into it. There are so many great thoughts. Another couple great books is Alchemy, the dark arts and black magic of marketing. But most organizations are not mature enough for dark arts and black magic. It's a more mature thought for a larger organization where an army can go to war. But even that large organization can super grow from simplicity, which is why I put energy into it. And when I asked Allan Dib, the author, can I go do this? And he was like, he gave me his blessing. I wasn't one of his official coaches, but I said, I built these modules for your IP. Can I go do that? And he's like, absolutely. All the while, and I even have it right here. This is Allan Dib's next thought, lean marketing.
Ooh.
Same author, right? Maybe this is our next podcast. But
I'm listening.
You know, and so he probably has new thoughts since his last time. And just like you said in closing, we did it, we redid it, and we changed our ICP. Exactly. You should constantly be evolving. Your feeling and thoughts about marketing should constantly be evolving, but your belief in that framework stayed. So that's my thing.
Well stated.
And so I actually would like to go and throw that back over to Marc, because we just recently went through all of this. Marc, what are your thoughts? What have you seen? How are you feeling about this?
I love it. It is a timeless thing. People buy the same way, before, during, and after. That's why the framework sticks. It doesn't really matter the industry, and this works. I'll just put this works, period. If you want to succeed, this will help you, whatever industry you're in. And if you don't know where to start, or you're a little skeptical, you can shoot me an email at marketing@youremploymentsolutions.com, and I'm happy to hop on a quick call and explain to you and just help you get your first steps, because it works, right? And I don't want to do this to all competitors or anything, but this works. And
that's
too late for that.
It's a free discovery call, but if you sign up with Marc today, you'll get the workshop for just
$49.99 per month.
3 easy payments
for 10 minutes.
There's marketing.
But thing is, the thing that the two of you are both coming back to, it's timeless, but also it goes back to like technology's changing, everything else is changing. So be adaptable. Those are my biggest takeaways.
Bro, yep.
Matt Frisbie, it's been such a delight. Thank you so much. Thanks for changing our organization for the better. And for those that are interested in getting a hold of you, following you, where can they find you?
Just on LinkedIn. Look for the funny guy.
Look for the funny looking guy on LinkedIn. All right.
Duly noted.
All right. Thanks again, Matt, Marc, and John Viev. I think we're going to advertise this as like the best 50-minute episode on marketing ever. And so
it's a stretch, but yeah.
You know me, I'm always taking copious notes, and I'm even walking away with more.
Good.
Because like from one marketer to another, and I know Marc feels the same way. it's always great for us to go and connect and actually speak about the things that are impacting our world, and the fact that this is something that is simplifying and condensing and making it approachable. The one-page marketing plan. We are not sponsored by Allan Dib.
Not yet. All right. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in. Drop a comment. Let us know what value you found in this interview with Matt, and we will see you next week. Thanks, everybody.
Sounds great. Thank you for joining us.
Talk to you soon. Bye.